I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have owned my Mark 8 GTI for 3 years. That just kind of blows my mind. It feels like I got this car like yesterday. But today I want to go over what my ownership experience has been like with my Mark 8 GTI for the past 3 years. This is Shep's Garage. I hope you guys do enjoy this video. But first, if you're new to the channel and this is the first time seeing my face on your screen, consider subscribing down below if you like my Mark 8 GTI content or other car content on this channel. I'm trying to become a full-time YouTuber and I cannot do without your guys' support. You guys have been crushing the support lately. I really do appreciate it. Now back to the Mark 8 GTI. I got this car in November of 2021, which is 3 years ago. I can't believe it. This car has truly been amazing. It is everything I thought a GTI would be and more. Today, I'm gonna go over what it was like living with this car for the past 3 years, talk about what I've done to it over the past 3 years, talk about the pros and cons of living it, some of the things I like and dislike, and then finally I'm gonna conclude, was this car worth it over the past 3 years and what's next for this car and for my future of cars. So without further ado, let's start off with that first thing. Now let's start off with a bit of an overview of my GTI and what I've done to it over the past 3 years. So this is my GTI. It's a 2022 SE trim level with the leather package, which is really important, which I'll get into later. But this car came in, I bought it in November, and it was the first GTI in Massachusetts for quite a while. First Mark 8 at least, for quite a while. A lot of them didn't start coming in till like December, January. So I got this car pretty early and I didn't even like order or anything. But that's okay, that was a little guinea pig for quite a while, but that's fine. Over the past 3 years, I've done tons of stuff to this car. Everything from the ECS tuning valve cap exhaust. I did the 18-inch Audi rotor wheel replica wheels. I got the brand new Michelin Pilot Sport all-season tires on here. I got the KW coilovers, the new speed intake. I did the dynamic turn signals in the mirrors, tint the windows, of course, wrapped it my favorite Porsche color, Ruby Star. I did the badge skins up here for the front lights, and just so much more. And of course, how can I forget one of the biggest modifications I've done to this car, which actually changes the appearance so well. Like, you won't understand how much this wing actually changes the appearance, but the Mark 8 Golf R wing, I get so many questions on this wing. This is just the Mark 8 Golf R wing. It really is no like rocket science on how to install it. Just took off the old wing, put this one on, and it just changes the back half of the car so much, and it looks so much better. If you own a Mark 8 GTI or any GTI, to be fair, just doing an exhaust or an intake changes the personality of this car so much. It takes it from a kind of boring, fun hatchback to a really fun, sporty hatchback, and I truly have not stopped smiling as I drive this car. It truly is so much fun. Now, these modifications definitely helped enhance the look of this car. When this car came out, I really was a big fan of the back. It really looked kind of Audi-esque. The side really didn't change that much, so like it kind of looks kind of like a Mark 7 from the side, so not too concerned about the side. I really was not sold by the front of this car when I got it. I feel like they ruined the car when they redesigned it. The headlights especially, they kind of go down into the car instead of up, kind of like the Mark 7. I really like the Mark 7.5, but the 8 was sort of a last-minute decision for me. But yeah, the headlights, I really wasn't sold on the front of the end of the car, especially with this whole like grill down here and stuff. But overall, the front end's definitely grown on me over the past 3 years, and I do think this car potentially looks better than a Mark 7. I'm just gonna say, I do think they've elevated the design in this car. Now, taking a look at the interior of this car, I have driven this car over 25,000 miles over the past 3 years, and this interior has held up so well. Better than I expected for a car of this class. I did go and get the SE leather package, which is an option on this car, and I believe that includes power seats, 3-way memory, and of course the leather. And I can't stress, I've said this in my 1-year review and I'm gonna say it again, the leather package is so worth it. This was before they imprinted the GTI in the back of the seats, but I actually prefer this, and this is before they did the stupid shiny black center console, and I actually prefer this too. These seats are so comfy, and they have actually hold up wear rise really well. No wear on the bolsters. Pretty nice. I have a little over 25,000 miles, and of course this is pretty normal, this like bubbling on the bottom of the seat here, but that's just pretty normal wear. But overall, these seats are super comfy, they're heated, they're ventilated, and of course you have the heated steering wheel as well, which is also really nice. But these seats look super cool. I think they wear better, they're easier to clean, and I also love the tri-tone look. We have the gray, the black, the red stitching, and the red piping, and the red around the back of the seat too, which is super cool. I get so many compliments on these seats, and so many people don't even realize that these seats are actually stock, and I tell them that they act like super surprised and stuff, but I do love these seats. The cloth seats are fine, these seats are better, and I think this option is like a $1,500 option. Highly recommend this option. Other than that, wear rise and wear and tear rise, no real complaints in this interior. This interior has really held up pretty well. Yes, the quality is not so great. I gotta be honest, we'll just step in. A lot of the touch points are great, for example. A lot of the touch points are great. For example, the armrest and up top here, but down lower, there is some scratchy plastics, but that's typical for a car of this class. One thing I definitely want to touch upon though is the screen setup, because I have to say, when I was buying this car, I saw so many bad reviews about this technology and infotainment, and I feel like it's definitely worth giving my thoughts of this technology over the past 3 years of driving this car. I have had tons of seat time in this car. This is my daily driver, so I have tons of opinions on this screen setup, and spoilers, it's not as bad as the reviewers have been saying it. I think this car has gotten tremendous amount of unnecessary hate for this interior, especially the screens. I think people just don't like change, and Again, I don't like change either, and coming from driving cars in the past with actual buttons and knobs and stuff, it's hard to change to just screens and touch capacitive stuff. I totally get that, but this interior is not that bad. One thing I actually do like are these steering wheel capacitive touch buttons. I quite like these. I may be the only person on earth to like them. On the new 8.5 GTI, they got rid of them to just buttons. I think I've gotten used to them. They are definitely nowhere as good as a button, but they operate pretty well and pretty well to your touch. They feel like a button. I love how you can slide your hand to adjust the volume and skip the track and stuff. All of these buttons work as they should. There are no glitching, or they don't turn on when I don't want them to turn them on. These steering wheel buttons, as the hate that they've gotten, I don't see what people have been hating on. These work great. I'm just saying. This screen setup here is also fine. I love the tack. I love how everything just looks great. I do like this like hexagonal pattern stuff. It does look very Audi-esque, and as I showed in past videos, but you can change the certain things on both sides depending on what you want, and change the color, of course. Overall, this screen setup is also fine. What isn't fine is this screen setup here. I have many opinions on this screen, especially the software, which I will start on now. It's terrible. I will freely admit that this software sucks. It is slow, it is laggy, and it just doesn't work as it should. It's slow when starting up, and it's hard to navigate through while you're driving. It is not laid out very well either. It's just not a good thought through infotainment system. And that is very important in today's car market. That is why I barely use this. I am 99.995% of the time click this button here for Apple CarPlay, and that's it, job done. I really don't go through this infotainment that often, other than to change the radio station, but that's it. Or to change the air conditioning, actually. Other than that, I really am rarely in this system, and honestly, I've gotten used to everything in here, and the heated seats and the temperature and everything. And yes, this doesn't illuminate, but I've also gotten used to that as well. Definitely does help that these buttons down here are actually like shortcut buttons, so I can easily just tap climate control there and it brings it up. So that's not a big deal. While driving, it's a bit of a pain, but it's super easy once you own this car for like more than 6 months. I honestly gotten used to like most of this stuff. So once again, the low point is definitely the infotainment system here, but they fixed that in the 8.5. I still like this like screen size. I think it's perfectly fine. I don't need it to be bigger. Overall, screen software stuff, I'll give it like a 5 out of 10. It's fine, but not great. Now, coming down here, I did get a DSG transmission, and over the past 3 years, that was a good decision. I really wanted a manual. I really wanted a manual, but unfortunately, the first cars that were out were only DSG, and I was really bummed that I got a DSG, honestly. For the first few months, I really regretted this decision. I really did. I really wish I got a manual. Everyone told me that I should have gotten a manual GTI. Why did you get a manual? But honestly, for my commute to school and back, the DSG was the right move. Of course, I also use the paddles in this car, the paddles on the back of the steering wheel, which do just as well as sort of getting the feeling of shifting gears. Sure, yes, it is not as good and as connected as a manual transmission, but it's good enough, and as well as I also have that luxury of going back to an automatic transmission if I don't really want to shift through gears. My mom has a manual 911, and she sometimes complains of manual transmissions in traffic. I sat in a lot of traffic going to high school and back, and I am so glad I did this in an automatic car and not a manual car, because I had a feeling that learning manual as I was 16, the clutch would have probably need to be replaced by now, especially with the modification and so on and so forth. This DSG transmission is good. I have literally no complaints on it. It is quick, it's fast, it's fun to drive with. It's really amazing. I truly think a DSG in this car really makes this car quick. It really, actually, this car, for what it is, this transmission shifts pretty quick, and it's awesome. I really have no complaints with this transmission, other than it's not as well you don't connect as well with it as a manual transmission. But that's pretty much all cars with manuals versus automatics. I also do love the ambient lighting in this car as well. You can kind of barely see it. I really do love it. Shines up here, shines down there, shines over here. All works as it should be, except unfortunately, for whatever reason, this light down here went out and it started hanging down, so I have to get a whole new light here over my December break. I just haven't gotten to it, so I've taped it, and other than that, everything in this interior has worked as it should. Now, back seat space as well is also fine. I don't sit back here. I'm usually in this seat, but this seat's where I would be. I have good leg room, good headroom. Everyone who I've driven back here, all my friends, if you're watching this video, everyone has said that this back seat is fine and it's pretty nice back here. So just take my friend's word for that. Of course, trunk space as well is super practical. I have a bunch of stuff back here, so I do apologize. But what I love about this car is how practical this is. I can get rid of this cargo cover and fold these seats down. I've crammed so much luggage when we go down to the Cape for 2 weeks. It is so nice having like a pretty like sporty, practical daily. It's truly awesome, where this car makes close to 300 horsepower and has all this space. It's just something that you really appreciate. But trunk space is great. I really have no complaints with it. It is super practical and I truly love it. So over the past 3 years, I've packed this trunk full of stuff in the past. I put an entire like kid car G-Wagon back here, and it truly fits, and it has been awesome to have all this space for the past 3 years. I'm definitely gonna miss it in the next car I get next. Now, maintenance-wise, this car hasn't needed too much over the past 3 years and 25,000 miles. It is a German car, so you should expect normal German car maintenance. I do oil changes every 5,000 miles, so if you do the math, I have done oil changes 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, like 5 times already, but that's pretty normal German car stuff if you want to maintain the engine, have a good long-lasting engine. Uncounting all the modifications and the tires, the only real thing that this car needed is rear brakes. I did need new rear brakes at 25,000 miles, so I got those changed. And other than that, this car has been very reliable. For a Volkswagen, especially the one that I've modified, it's truly been reliable. I mean, knock on wood, obviously, there's no wood to knock on, but take my word for it, this car is actually really reliable. I could expect that in the next, 25, 30,000 miles ahead that it could start needing more maintenance, but that's just normal German car stuff. This car has been fairly reliable. I have no complaints when it comes to reliability of this car. It truly has been awesome. Other than the infotainment system, I would say there are 2 things that I just haven't really liked when owning this car for 3 years. I want to start regarding the infotainment system. I guess it's linking to that, is the bugs and glitches you get in this car. I get constant bugs and glitches with the software. I don't know if it's because that my car is still on the 1880 software when this car came out, but it could just need a software update, but I get constant software bugs and glitches with this car. Things like the radio randomly not working, the backup camera not working and flickering sometimes. Sometimes the radio only plays through one speaker, and just so on and so forth. So that is kind of annoying, especially since that I've taken it to Volkswagen and they claim that there's nothing that they can do. So that's unfortunate, but that is something that I'm guessing they fixed in the 8.5 generation of GTIs. But let me know if you've had those issues and if you guys figured out a resolution, because I would love to know. And the final thing that I don't really like about this car is that it is front wheel drive, in that because of that, it's pretty bad in the snow, unfortunately. That may have to do with the state that I've put this car in, but that also is because that all-wheel drive cars just are generally better than front-wheel drive cars in the snow. Even though I do have all-season tires in this car just does not do well compared to my parents' Audis, for example. This does mean that in the snow, I do not drive this car. I actually drive my parents' cars if I need to go somewhere, like school or work or wherever, but that is a little bit unfortunate. Yes, the fix to this problem is either getting a good set of winter tires, or even better, getting a Golf R, because that's all-wheel drive. Unfortunately, the time I bought this car, the Golf R wasn't available, and dealers were treasuring them like gold. So unfortunately, I had to get a GTI, but no complaining. The GTI is a really good car with the limited front differential and truly handles better in the corners than a Golf R. It's just, one of those things I sometimes regret is not getting a Golf R. Seriously, other than those 2 things, this car has truly been a blast over the past 3 years. It literally has lived up to my expectations of wanting a GTI since I was a little kid. It truly has been so awesome, and this car has fully lived to my expectations. Sure, no car is perfect, but glossing over those things I've talked about, this car is truly amazing, and I really would highly recommend getting one if you're looking for a fun, sporty, practical daily driver. Now, what can you expect in the future of this car, or my cars in general? Well, in the future, I am not done with modifying this car. There are still a few things I want to do until I make it perfect. Maybe instead of new wheels, I'm definitely going to be tuning it. Now, as I said in the past videos, I am going to keep this car forever, and I actually want to hand this car down to my kids. Like, this car is like the OG. It's my first car. It has that sentimental value to it that I really don't want to get rid of this car, unless it gets unfortunately like totaled or wherever. I am keeping this car forever. So in that case, you could expect to see this car on my channel for literally ever. And because of that, I am not going to replace this car with anything. If I do get another car, which I obviously will get another car, it will be alongside this car. I've talked about a BMW M3 eventually, maybe a Mark V Toyota Supra, or maybe a cool fast SUV or wagon, German SUV or wagon. Something along those lines is what I would add on aside of this car. Of course, eventually down the line, I would love a GT3 or a Porsche 911 in general, actually, but staying to current times, that's sort of what I would want alongside of this car. So you cannot expect to see this car going anywhere anytime soon. So that is my 3-year update with my Mark 8 GTI. Let me know if you have any other questions about my 3-year ownership in the comment section down below. Let me know how your Mark 8 GTIs or GTIs in general are doing after the time you've owned them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.